Hello everybody, welcome to another Honda Element video. Today we're actually going to be installing these Element 44 front modified control arms, and we're also going to be installing the rear lower control arms as well, including our brand new product that we have, the high clearance center tie bar. This is a beautiful piece. Arms on Miguel's 2005 Honda Element. This is the khaki model. So as many of you know, this one only came out in 2005. Really beautiful car, amazing. We're going to be installing these parts today. Should be a straightforward install, and we're going to guide you guys through it and show you any tips and tricks that we know of to share with you guys to make the install a breeze. So to install the control arms, we're going to remove the sway bar link from here, just from the bottom mount. Just move that out of the way. So now that we removed the sway bar link, or just disconnected it, we're going to go ahead and remove the ball joint bolt. We'll remove the lower ball joint nut and then move forward to taking off the axle nut bolt. I want to loosen everything up first. Make sure everything's loosened up. Now we're going to proceed with the two 19mm bolts for the lower control arm. So when installing the new control arm, we can go about this a couple ways. We can lower the subframe. We can loosen it up to bring it down about 1/2 inch. Or we can take off the entire spindle. This will allow you to inspect everything. Since everything's disconnected, it'll allow you to inspect everything. Plus, this is a good time, if you haven't done so, ball joints. If the ball joints have not been changed out, if they're old, if they're the original ones, they're damaged, whatever it may be, this is a really good time for you to go ahead and replace your lower ball joints. So the lower control arm came off fairly easy because we had done it prior before. We used this tool to separate the lower ball joint from the control arm. We already had an easy time taking that off. Sometimes it might be a little more difficult, so just be aware of that. We use this tool. Since our ball joint is new, it came off fairly easy. And this would also be a good time that if you do need axles, if they are leaking, for example, like this one, then this would be a good time for you to replace it. We're going to be making a separate video on how to rebuild these axles, so stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to strap this axle up, get it out of the way for us. And no matter what you could use zip ties, you could use a strap, you could use a bungee, as long as it gets it out of the way. So what I'm going to do is, since these are a nice tight fit, punch through the middle and just rotate it in the direction that you're going to install it in, just to make it easy. So the more room we have here to work with, the easier it'll be to install this. Got that.
And the other thing that make a huge difference right now in the install was that Joseph dropped the subframe a little bit, especially that this element is lifted. Then it just helps a lot to align the other part of the lower arm with the ball joint, right, Joseph?
Yes, sir. Makes it a lot easier. So now that we have the 2 bolts in, we're going to go ahead and reassemble this whole thing. So we'll remove this. Axle goes in. Then so if anything, just to make this move a little bit more, have a little more range of motion, would be just loosening up the bolts, you know. It'll allow us to move everything and jiggle it in place. So now we're gonna go ahead and torque this one down and torque that one down. So the back one, that one, you would like to have the vehicle sitting on the ground with a weight to torque the rear bolts down, these rear mounted bolts. This front one, you can go ahead and do that beforehand because they are spherical. So those are nice and solid. So yeah, we'll just do that when we're done. So now that we have everything buttoned up, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tighten up our subframe bolts, all 4 of them. So now we're gonna be moving to the rear of the element, and we're going to be installing the version 2 spherical high clearance LCAs with the new center tie bar.